Okay, perfect. Well, my name is Emily Burgess, and I know many of you, and some of you I've not yet had a chance to meet, but I am so excited to be on this call tonight. These are some of my favorite calls that we do. We do these once a month, and I gather men and women from my team who I know have really beautiful, powerful stories, whether that's just them seeing a change in their energy. When I say just seeing a change in their energy, I don't mean just seeing a change, because when you have a change in your energy, that means that all the things change for you and for your family, or having changes in their digestive system, in their weight, in their mood, in their hormonal balance, things that they've learned. We have so many incredible women on our team, mainly women on our team who are in the medical field. So I love hearing from them, love hearing their wisdom and their knowledge and their research on the products. And this is just a really great time to come and hear their story, because the reason people most of the time try these products is because they hear a story of somebody and they think, I wonder if that could happen for me. For me, I really wanted to lose some weight. I was really nervous with Plexus because I had seen so many of my friends losing weight, and I assumed that it was a weight loss fad diet. And so I was really hesitant to try it because I wanted something that was going to be good for my body, something that was not going to hurt my body in the future. But I also needed some help with losing weight because I was trying to be active. I was trying to eat healthy, but I also was a mom of young children who just needed me. And so I was not taking care of myself the way that I probably ought to have been. But I feel like that is the case for many moms with young children, is we put ourselves last. And so for me, it took me about 4.5 years to finally say yes to trying the products. And when I did, I was consistent on them. Well, I say I was consistent. I was inconsistent on them for the first 2 months. And I remember after 2 months of being inconsistent, I was still seeing some changes, but I remember talking to a friend and just saying, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it. And she said, well, are you taking your products every day? And I had to be honest. And I had to say, well, no, not every day. I wasn't really prioritizing them. And she said, the point of the products is to help balance out your system. And if you're not taking them every single day, then you're not allowing them to do what they were created to do. And so I don't know why it took me that simple explanation for me to be like, oh, well, that makes sense. And so I started prioritizing the products and I started taking them every day. And it was amazing, you guys. I did not lose weight immediately, which I really appreciate, because that is something I was worried about. I didn't want it to be a quick fix, but I did start to notice some changes with that bloating around my belly. I didn't feel like the Michelin Man as much, especially in the beginning. Like I was still having a little bit of bloating, but as time went on with that consistency, that started to really slim down, which was really wonderful. I was starting to notice way more energy, much deeper sleep. I was not craving the sugar like I had. Y'all, I literally would take spoonfuls of peanut butter and dip them into chocolate chips probably 2 or 3 times a day. Isn't that terrible? Because I had this like ravenous sugar craving. But once I started taking the products consistently, I didn't have that anymore. And that makes sense because the products are really focused on some of the root areas of our health. One of them, which is why it makes sense with the balance of my sugar cravings, was that it balances your blood sugar levels in a natural way. That's why we see so many people see positive changes with their hormones, with their cravings, with their energy, because your body is not having to like spike and dip, spike and dip, spike and dip. Your body is becoming more balanced. And so your cravings are more balanced. Your energy is better because you're sleeping more efficiently at night. So your body is working more efficiently during the day. It works really beautifully together. Another thing that Plexus products really focuses on is gut health. I did not understand what gut health was when I first started. I just thought it was kind of an icky word, and I just assumed it probably meant like bathroom things. But I didn't realize until I started with Plexus learning more. You guys, it's very fascinating. You should go and take a look at gut health connections. Go type in gut health and blank. like you're going to see a lot of interesting things. My husband, he used to have sinus infections. He had chronic sinus infections for all of his life. And then he started on the Plexus products 4.5 years ago, almost 5. And he has not had a single sinus infection in 5 years. Who even knew that your sinuses were connected to your gut? Same with your serotonin hormone is produced, like 90% of your serotonin is produced in your gut, which that is your, where you see a lot of people struggling with anxiety and depression. All sorts of things are connected with the gut, which is so, so beautiful. So I've talked far too long, but I wanted to just give a quick intro of what our products really focus on. Because I know for me, as somebody who is extremely skeptical, I remember feeling like there is no way that one set of products can help in all these different areas that I was seeing my friends share about. Help with their migraines, help with their sciatica, helping with their anxiety and their depression, their sleep, their energy, their cravings, their aches, their pains, all the things. So now it makes sense to me. I am so excited for you guys to hear from 3 of my really, really good friends. These are women that I have come to know and love and respect deeply. Nancy Stevens, who's on here as Joshua Stevens, she and I have known each other for 20 years. So there's so much depth in these relationships, and I'm so excited for you guys to hear their stories. This is going to be a short 20-minute call. If you guys have questions, please put them in the chat. Feel free to message any of us as well. I'm going to pass it off to my dear friend Shelby. Go ahead, Shelby.
Hey guys, my name is Shelby Foubester. And before I tell you about my story, I'll just go a little back and tell you kind of where I started. So I first started learning a little bit about needing a probiotic back when I struggled with a lot of yeast infections early in my adult life. And so tried like the over-the-counter things at Walmart, where you buy the same place you buy your toilet paper if you're buying your supplements there. I'm learning that's not the best choice. So that's where I kind of learned a little bit about the importance of probiotics. Fast forward, I was a middle school teacher and had our first baby girl and hated taking her to daycare. So my husband and I prayed over that, and I decided to become a stay-at-home mom. And the day I was cleaning out my classroom, we found out we were pregnant with baby number 2. And in the next 9 months, guys, we never figured out how to live off of one income. And so we were so poor at that point. We were paying for our groceries on our credit cards. And I did not have social media. Spoiler alert, I didn't have it for about 7 years. I did not love it. But my husband had it, and we had to buy our girls clothes. So we did that through a consignment page on Facebook. And as I was on Facebook, on my husband's Facebook, my friend Brittany, who I would trust with anything, kept posting about what Emily was talking about, the link between anxiety and gut health. And guys, I thought what I was dealing with was normal because I then had a 2-month-old baby girl I was nursing multiple times during the day and night, and then running around chasing a 2-year-old. So I thought that was normal, but really anxiety was something I had dealt with a lot of my teenage through adult years. Also was struggling with some major sugar cravings. When it was around Easter time. Okay, I really think that Emily's peanut butter and chocolate chips has nothing on what I've got. My husband would bring home the big bags of Starburst jelly beans, and I would pour them into a big Ziploc bag and just eat them out of that. It was terrible. That's how intense my sugar cravings were. And then, of course, I didn't have any energy. Again, I thought that was normal. And so my friend, I reached out to her, and she was telling me about how much I needed this. I was sold. I knew I needed this. I needed a change. And then she told me the price, and I'm like, oh gosh, something else to add to our budget. But the cool thing is she shared with me is Plexus's referral program and how everyone really does need to focus on their gut health. So we decided to sign up with literally the last amount left on our credit card to order my welcome pack 2.5 years ago. And it was the best decision I've made. I was able to get my grandma, my friend, and my sister-in-law to start taking the products with me. And those 3 people to join with me who are still taking them today, that first paycheck that I got from Plexus blew my mind because it paid for my next 2 to 3 months of products. And that's all I needed. I mean, I needed just to pay for my products. But then when I got that first paycheck, a light bulb kind of went off because I had been a part of a different network marketing company who I never made any money with. I spent a lot more money than I ever made with. And I thought, well, maybe this is the answer to so many prayers my husband had been praying about to help us with our finances. And so I began to naturally share as I started on these products. And so, oh my goodness, the first 2 months, when my husband said after 2 months that there's something different about you, you just seem lighter, things kind of roll off a lot easier, that's when I knew there really is a link to anxiety and gut health. That first week on just the triplex that I started with, our Slim Pink Drink, ProBio 5 and BioCleanse, guys, I didn't have to take a nap the same time my girls did. I was able to do the laundry, and that's something I wasn't getting done before. And then I also noticed, it was springtime, I also noticed that I didn't need to take my Claritin and Zyrtec that I had been taking for 10 years. That's a $40 savings right there. So immediately I saw all of the health struggles I had been dealing with. I saw those dissipate and improve in the first 2 months of my journey. The sugar cravings, they kind of intensified because, again, it is balancing our bodies. And sometimes your body goes into a little bit of a shock and we experience a little bit of detox, and that's what happened. But once about my 3-month mark, I hit that, my sugar cravings were gone. And I just can't explain how well my health has been since I've started. But the other piece of my journey really has been the community piece of this. When I became a stay-at-home mom, my world just kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And being an introvert, I was really okay with that, but really it was not good. We all know isolation is not good for us. And so the community here, once I continuously shared about these products and then became a part of this team, has been a blessing that I really didn't even know God had in store for me. Financially, we've been able to pay for our family's products the whole time through, replace my teaching salary, and really, it's really special to be able to see some faces on here tonight that I know wouldn't be here if I wouldn't have shared what these products had done for me. So that's a little bit about my story, and I hope that in some way it speaks to you. And if not, think of someone that it may speak to and send this to them if they can relate to it in any way. So if you have any specific questions, I'd love to answer them, put them in the chat. And I think I'm going to hand it over to Cali.
Thank you. Okay, so my story, I have something that kind of, I think a lot of people deal with the same things that I dealt with. I grew up on a farm in Nampa. I milked cows and we literally lived off the land. We made our own butter and our own buttermilk with bread and ice cream. And I mean, we literally lived off of our land. So when I moved out, when I was 18 years old, I started getting lactose intolerant issues. And I was crazy surprised because I'd never had those issues before. And so at first it was nothing. It was maybe a little like irregular bowel movements or a little grumbling tummy every once in a while. And then it started getting to the point where 2 or 3 years later, it was that I had to rush to the bathroom 30 minutes after I had any dairy. I was like, well, I'm not going to change what I'm eating because I love what I'm eating and I'm not going to do off dairy. That's just ridiculous. And so I just thought to myself, this is how my life's going to be for the rest of my life. And I just knew if I had pizza or ice cream or milk with cereal or anything, that I knew I just had to find a bathroom 30 minutes later. Well, a few years later, I get married and I get pregnant, never dealt with depression issues in my whole entire life. I'm like happiest go lucky, easygoing person until I had my first child. And then I was like the devil woman. I could not stop like controllably crying. To the point where my husband actually called the doctor 4 to 6 weeks after I had my first child and said, there is something wrong with my wife. Please help her. And he said, oh, she just has postpartum depression. Let's give her these pills. And he came into our house and said, please take these. And I threw them at him and said, are you freaking kidding me? Like, you think I'm crazy? And I kind of freaked out on him. Well, I took him that night because he begged me to. And it took a full month to get into my system. And then you have to get off of them when you're pregnant again. So 2 years later, I had to wean off. It's crazy again. And then had to be on them again. And then I got pregnant a third time. And this time I was actually had crazy depression, the worst depression I've ever had, the whole 9 months of being pregnant with my third child. And then I just hadn't been able to get off of them. I would wean off as many times as I could. I don't even know how many countless times I've tried to wean off of these. So I'd been on them for 10 years, weaned off 30 times or more, and never been able to wean off completely. The lowest I could take was a half a pill every other day. And whenever I'd take less than that, my husband would be like, babe, it's okay to get back on those things. I'm like, oh, dang it. You can tell a difference. He's like, oh yeah, I can. So, I just knew like that was going to be my life also. And so, kind of sad about it, but just realized whatever, it's just a pill every other day. It's no big deal. And so it wasn't until, oh, you can see that I have my computer on. It wasn't until I was having so many lactose intolerant and food sensitivity issues that I went to go see a dietitian and I went to go see a nutritionist. 2 different things. One was putting me on a certain diet and one was putting me on certain supplements. They put me on 5 different supplements and I took them 4 different supplements and I took them for 5 months. In those 5 months, I did not see one change. That I was so desperate and complaining to my best friend, Kinsey, who I work out with every single morning. And she literally took me by the shoulders and shook me and was just like, please try these things. So I just said, okay, I'm desperate. I'll try anything. So I ordered that week. And I did tell you that I had weaned off as much of my depressant issues as I possibly could, the lowest dose I could get to. So the first month I noticed quite a bit more energy. Second month, I noticed I wasn't craving sweets like everyone does. And that was the second month was when I actually had my first normal bowel movement after dairy, that I called my husband at work freaking out and was like, Ryan, I just pooped for the first time normally. And he was like, you're seriously calling me for this? He's a police officer. And he's like, you're wasting my time for poop. I'm like, yes, I was so excited. And then I gotta be honest, I have not had any issues. Every once in a while when I have ice cream, I will, but I can have pizza, I can have milk, I can have yogurt without any issues. And that was only after 2 months, which was a little crazy to me. And then 3 months, because of that huge thing that happened with the dairy, and I was a believer, I finally decided to test my antidepressant. And I didn't tell my husband because I didn't want him to look at me too closely. And so I just said, I'm going to try this. I'm going to really test this out. And so 3rd month in, I started weaning off, and it took me a full month to wean off. So after that month, I went to my husband and I said, hey, am I normal? And he's like, yeah, why? I'm like, yes, you guys, I have been off my antidepressant for a few days now, like completely. And he was floored. So I haven't taken an antidepressant since, and it's almost been 2 years. So booyah, like I'm so excited that I'm finally normal and not dependent on an antidepressant pill. And then recently, I was just diagnosed with Hashimoto's. And so, no, this hasn't helped all of my thyroid issues. I still have to, my thyroid is diminishing, but so I have to be on a pill. But when I was at the doctor, she was kind of asking me, Kay, are you still on Zoloft? Are you still on this and this? I said, no, I've been off for like a year and a half, 2 years now. She's like, wait, excuse me? Like what? How did you get off during COVID, during homeschooling, and while you're dealing with thyroid issues? She's like, most people with Hashimoto's either deal with anxiety or depression, and have certain issues as well. And she was floored that I was able to be off of that. She said that's very rare. And so I was pretty excited. My numbers are kind of still all over the place, but she said they're pretty normal for how bad my Hashimoto's was. My dosage is pretty small. So I'm pretty excited about that. Not excited that I have Hashimoto's, but excited that I was able to get off my antidepressant and that I'm still feeling great and I have energy to play with my kids. My sugar craving is still there. I got to be honest. I love sweets, but it's not as bad. And I feel like myself again. So if this feels like this could help someone, I'm obviously an open book, and you can send them my way and let me talk to them, or I'd love to message anyone or talk to them on the phone. Because I love telling my story, because I think lots of people have depression and lactose intolerant issues that I can relate to. So I'm going to pass it on to Nancy.
Well, I just love hearing y'all's stories. It's so encouraging and so inspiring. So I'm Nancy, not Joshua. I forgot to change that when I was logging on. I am a registered dietitian. So nutrition is my background. I am a mom of 4, homeschooling. And so a little bit of my backstory is that when I was pregnant with my 4th, it was a surprise pregnancy. And so we were just talking about, praying about, just looking into things of like how being at home, like how might I be able to make some money to help out with the family. I did not want to go back to work. I loved being home with my kids. That was one of the things that was really important to me. But 4 kids are expensive. And during that time also, the Lord just kept putting in front of me more and more stories with Plexus. I knew about Plexus in the past because of friends from college. But like Emily, I assumed it was just about weight loss, erroneously, like wrongly. And I never struggled with weight. And so it just wasn't something that I had looked into or was interested in. But that during that time, the Lord just kept putting it in front of me. And it was a time when Emily was getting close to a really big rank up in the company where she was going to get a big raise, and was sharing some of that. And so it caused me to just reach out to her and reach out to some other people and to actually look into what Plexus really was. And I was really shocked and surprised what I found out. It was not what I had expected. Since nutrition is my background, again, I found that it was more about gut health and products that were in the most bioavailable forms that could be absorbed in the body. So good quality supplements, gut health being very important. In my training, like years before, there wasn't as much information, but just in that continuing education over the years, it kept pointing to gut health, like how important gut health is. And then I already knew blood sugar balance being very important as a dietitian. And so I found they were products I could believe in and share about and feel good about and helping others. And then again, that pregnancy that was going on, a few of the people I talked to expressed the difference it made in their pregnancies. And I knew something was off during this 4th pregnancy because my other pregnancies had been really good. I felt good. But this pregnancy, my hormones were out of balance, like more. I mean, your hormones kind of go a little crazy during pregnancy. pregnancy anyway, but mine were off to a different level of me experiencing that like anxiety, depression, things that sometimes a lot of people experience in that postpartum period. I was actually experiencing it during pregnancy. And I had developed some eczema on my legs as well. So just showing how that gut health being off, I had, as I got started on the products, realizing like that candida overgrowth. So the ProBio 5 really like killed off that candida overgrowth. And within a couple of weeks, the eczema on my legs had disappeared. My hormones began to get back in balance. So I began to feel like those other pregnancies. I began to be back to my normal, happy self again, and to start having more energy again with those balancing hormones, balancing blood sugars. I was also nursing, still, I was extended breastfeeding. I was actually still nursing my toddler who was getting up at night. So I hadn't been sleeping well. So just feeling more rested. But also later on, I kind of looking back, I realized there was like a time shift where I thought he was going to wean himself, but he actually increased breastfeeding during that time. And I had a great milk supply, you know, postpartum, all those sorts of things. But I realized too, you know, with your insulin and blood sugars, if you know someone that's breastfeeding or a struggle with breastfeeding, that is connected. Insulin's a master hormone, so it's connected to your milk production. And so my milk production going up, you know, and then being just a really great breastfeeding experience after that. And even still, again, extended breastfeeding, nursing my toddler still. And so that was really good. And kind of like Emily shared about her husband, I had just in the past would get colds that would just kind of linger or get sinus infections and things more regularly. And since starting Plexus, I have not had a single sinus infection, and I just rarely get sick, even with, you know, 4 kids, germs everywhere. And if I have gotten sick, it's just been so much shorter. Before it would like linger and feel like it'd never go away. Now it's like my immunity, it just kicks in, and your gut health is connected to your immunity. And even the same with the kids. My kids take the kids' products now, and they rarely get sick, even when other kids, it feels like, are, you know, at church or at Bible study or different things are falling like flies with sickness. They have been really healthy, and that has been a huge blessing. And then, yeah, just continuing to see, just being able to help others and hear those changes as you share with friends or family, share the changes that we've seen personally, and others that you help with. It's just been beautiful, and the community and the support and just learning. You cannot find a better and encouraging community here that will love and help one another and just support and encourage. So that is just a blessing that I did not expect as I got started doing this. That's just been really sweet part of this as well. So yeah, so that's a bit of my story. And if anyone ever has questions or anything, I'd love to answer those further.
Thank you, Nance and Cali and Shelby. It's so cool hearing, you know, we just heard from 3 people tonight. And in that, we heard a whole myriad of things that these women have experienced once implementing these products. And so they're not a magic pill, but they get to the root of the issue, and there's so much relief there. And so I encourage you, if you're taking the products right now, really make it a point to be very consistent. Make it a point to communicate with the person that is your sponsor, so that way you guys are at the right regimen for you and your body, but be consistent with it. If you're new here and you're just hearing about Plexus for the first time, I encourage you to dive in a little bit deeper. Ask some questions. I think it's important to ask questions. See how this can help you. Share kind of some of your health struggles, your health goals that you have, and see what can help you, because that's where this started for every single one of us. What if this helped us with that weight loss that we've been holding on to that will not go away? What if this helps us with our anxiety? What if this helps us with our lactose intolerance? What if this helps us financially? What if was the question that spurred on all of us getting started. and it has totally and completely changed all of our lives that make me want to cry because it's so sweet and so special. And so we are excited to share that with you. We would love to answer any questions that you have. There is a big special going right now with Plexus. So reach out to the person who invited you here if you are interested. I think it ends in the next couple of days. So you guys, thank you for being on. We really appreciate it. I will get this uploaded to YouTube. So if you have people that you would like to share this with, be on the lookout for that recording soon. Thank you guys all so much for being here. You guys have a great night. Bye, everyone.